Hello and welcome to End Goals, an LCMS Youth Ministry podcast. I'm host Reverend Mark Kiesling, and I'm with GCE Julianna Schultz. We are here to bring parents, church workers, and lay leaders discussions and resources to help your youth ministry meet its end goal, which is young people who are disciples of Jesus Christ for life. Today, we're going to talk about engaging young leaders and youth lead.
We have talked in many episodes, probably a little bit ad nauseum, about the importance of young leaders. If you've been listening to us for probably at least 3 or 4 of these, more than that. We've talked about young leaders. And while you've heard us talk about them in terms of 7 practices, talking about young leadership has really been an important part of what LCMS Youth Ministry has done for a long time.
Yes, more than 40 years ago, LCMS Youth Ministry started Lutheran Youth Fellowship to help train high school-aged teens as leaders in the church. We continue to do this, but now we call it YouthLead, and we host leadership training events facilitated by teens on our leadership team. The event makes use of leadership resources developed to give teens the tools they need to mature in their faith, become leaders in their congregations, and reach out to their peers with the love of Christ.
We just hosted an event in March for YouthLead. We're finishing up plans to get ready for registration for an event in July. So for those of you that maybe have never heard of Lutheran Youth Fellowship or YouthLead, here are some of the basics. Our program's designed for LCMS high school students who have been identified as current or future leaders. Adults sometimes districts will bring individuals and small groups of youth who they would like to get further training in leadership. Our training has kind of 2 different foci. The first is that we teach a discipleship curriculum designed to help benefit that young person and train them to teach that curriculum back home. And that curriculum is available to everyone for free on Youth eSource after the event. And second, we do sessions to develop practical leadership skills. We want them to go back home knowing more about their God-given strengths and how to lead in a Christ-centered way. So joining us for this episode today are 3 members of our executive team. That's a board that's elected every 3 years of young people who help us run our event. So we have Barber, Adam Beadle, and Reagan Martens here joining us to talk more about YouthLead. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Hey, of course. Great to be on.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks for having us.
So I'll let you take a little bit of turns. Tell us a little bit more about yourselves and why you wanted to serve on the YouthLead Executive Team.
Yeah, hey, so I'm Adam Beadle. I'm the West Southwest representative on the YouthLead Executive Team, and it's been a pretty fun ride so far. I think I'm probably one of the younger members. I'm the youngest member on the team, so it's definitely been awesome sharing input with my peers and getting to spend a lot of time with lots of cool people. And I think for me, the reason why I joined the executive team is I think one of those big factors that I am one of the youngest people on the team, and I think provide sort of a perspective that is a little bit different than those that might be older than me. And also, too, I just love spreading the word of God and being able to share that with people every day. So it was really the connections for me, establishing a connection with not only people that are older than me, are closest to me, but also those that are younger than me, too, and being able to just kind of, as it's in the title, being a leader and just helping to inspire kids, be passionate about Christ. And yeah.
My name is Barber, and I am the Great Plains region representative. I am a first-year college student studying chemistry education with a minor in physics at South Dakota State University. I decided to become an ET member because I've been to past events, and I've seen the impact that it's made in my life and other people's lives. And being able to be part of that amazing, task, inspiring people and getting people closer to each other is absolutely inspiring and amazing. And I wanted to give back what this program or this retreat has given to me, and just sharing the love of God with youth.
I'm Reagan Martens. I'm the Central Region representative, and I'm a senior in high school. I plan to go to Concordia, Nebraska next year to become a director of Christian education and elementary teacher. I felt called to serve on the executive team. I learned about the upcoming election the past year before, and I prayed every single night for the outcome. I just really wanted to give back, and I realized how life-changing the event was for me, and I just wanted to help others experience the same thing that I had.
That's great. We're thankful for all the three of the leadership that you put into the event and just supporting other people who attend the event, and certainly youth and your vocation in the world in which you live. One thing that you guys said, thanks for your introduction, is that you all represent regions that follow the LCMS regions as well. So again, came through the opportunity to be at YouthLead, other trainings, and then really again stepped into these roles to serve. And we're so thankful for the time and certainly the energy and the insight you give us for that. So just want to take a step, and obviously you know that you've had a lot of people supporting you back home in your congregation. So what do you love about your congregation and the youth ministry that's happened there or that you're a part of right now?
You know, I love my congregation back home. I think there's a lot of opportunities for youth, and not only youth, I should say. So our mission statement at my church is engaging all generations to be passionate followers of our risen Savior, and I really take that to key the part, about engaging all generations, because I really feel like there is a way for younger people and older people, and the people in between to work together a lot. And I think my congregation provides lots of opportunities for people of different generations to be able to work together. And also, I love music and I love stuff like that. And so at my church, there's opportunities. I play the drums for service sometimes. So there definitely are a lot of opportunities for me to be able to serve in my congregation as well as work with others that share the same love I do. So I think that's the joy of it all.
Our congregation has just been great with supporting youth in our church. I know the youth gets involved in church services. I know at least once a year there's a youth ran service. So it's completely ran by youth and not just typically the usual people who run the services, besides the sermon, of course. Doing mission trips. We have very enthusiastic people working in our church that just love doing things with youth and sharing the gospel and the good word and whatnot.
So tell me a little bit about how you guys spoke about how YouthLead's impacted you. How have you seen YouthLead help you engage in your faith?
I think discussion topics really help you dig deep into your faith and really make you think about what we truly believe in. YouthLead has helped me relate to topics personally, and then you get to take that and bring that home to your community and your church and share that with all your friends who maybe didn't go to YouthLead. And I really like that because it just helps you dig deep into the foundations of the church.
I think for me, it's really helped for me to kind of step out of my comfort zone a bit. I feel like there's a lot of times, with our faith walk where we tend to, keep some of those thoughts that we don't necessarily want to share inside our own mind. But I think the fun part about YouthLead is you meet so many cool people and so many different people throughout the weekend, and you form a close relationship with them super fast. So I feel like there's a really big opportunity for people to step out of their comfort zone a bit and be able to just kind of share about their walk with God and what they want to do and their goals in life. And so I think definitely for me it's about just engaging with those that I don't necessarily know, and sometimes bring up the most vulnerable parts in you and the most interesting conversations. So I just think that's really cool.
And some of those things like going out of your comfort zone or having those conversations, how maybe specifically has YouthLead helped you as a young leader in different vocations and different aspects of your life back home?
For me personally, I felt that it gave me a lot more confidence as a leader for speaking in front of big crowds. At school and other times in my life, I get so freaked out to speak in front of big crowds, worry that I might be judged or embarrass myself. But at YouthLead, I just felt really loved and cared for by those around me. And it was just a lot easier for me to speak and lead in front of others. And now I took that with me, and I feel so much more comfortable now than I ever was with speaking in the past.
One thing I could add on that has helped me grow as a leader is that I still kind of am a pretty introverted person. So going out and meeting new people is not my strong suit. So with YouthLead, it gave me practice meeting new people, trying to step out a little bit to different people, what's going on in their life.
One thing I love to see about your leadership and all the executive teams that have served is when people are first showing up for the training and you all start to engage with them and get them connected. Like I know, like you said, Austin, for some that's more comfortable than others, but you guys do it so well, and get to build those relationships and show the love of Christ to those that are attending from across the country who are coming into that kind of awkward situation sometimes too, of coming to a new place, new people, and you guys do such a great job of making people feel welcomed.
Yeah, and you guys are 3 people on a team of 6, right? Who are all very different people, who all have very different skills, right? That God brought together to help lead the event. And so it's always great to see how each of you grows in different ways. And then for the event, you get to see young leaders grow in different ways. And so it's fun to get to see individuals, whether it's developing confidence or whether it's developing sort of an energy to go out and engage other people in a way that maybe you hadn't before, or whether it's learning how to be an encourager for the team. There's always really fantastic and different ways for everybody how they can grow as a leader in the program. I am curious though, as you think about how you guys have grown, if you were going to talk to an adult who is supporting you, what would you want them to know as a young leader?
I'm kind of going to go back just a bit to what we talked about at like the beginning of the weekend, like right before it started. We had kind of a meeting with all the adult leaders that were there, just kind of like things we wanted them to know about the weekend, and like what their mindset should be kind of going into it. And I think one of the key takeaways from me for me about what we talked to them about was the kids that are coming to this retreat, a lot of them have some really, really great ideas and some really, really great things to contribute to the group. And so we kind of just told them, keep an open mind. These kids have a lot. These kids have a really strong passion about what they want to do and where they want to take their faith. And I've seen a couple of the churches that have come to YouthLead already put on some really cool events. And so it's just been really awesome to see how the God has been working in all of them. And just so that's probably my takeaway. It's just, have an open mind, because these kids have some really cool ideas and some really, really cool things to share with everyone.
I think that something I would want to tell them is that even though as E-team members we're basically leading this event, they still have a huge part in everything that's going on. I think that all the conversations and connections that you have with the adults are just as important as the ones with the teens. The adults have made a huge impression on my life, and so it's just really nice knowing that they are there loving you and caring for you, and they're right by you no matter what. And I think just having them there as a reminder that it's going to be okay and that we can pray if you need to, or, a reminder that people are there to support you is just amazing. And the adults have really helped me feel lots better about being a first-year member on the E-team.
Yeah, I totally bounce off what Reagan said. I think the adults that are there every weekend are always super supportive, not only of their kids that are there, but of us. And so just even having them there just kind of as a backbone is always just really awesome.
Beyond YouthLead, how can adult leaders engage well with young people or young leaders?
I mean, I honestly just say it's all about a connection, the type of connection you form with your student. I mean, get to know your kids, get to, what their interests are, what they like, what they do outside of, their youth group. Maybe it's going to one of their sporting events, or, could even be, going to see, what kind of performances they have on, but really get to know your kids and form a relationship with them. Because, although you may be older than them and they're probably a lot younger than you, they want to form a connection with you, and they want to have a connection with you, because that is probably one of the most valuable things they will have in their life.
Yeah, to piggyback off of what Adam said, is making those connections with youth can go a long way into building a relationship.
Just being there to help them and support them, and just showing that compassion and understanding, just so that way young leaders feel comfortable with sharing and engaging in topics is super helpful. Because I know that even as an executive team member, it's sometimes really hard to open up in front of adults, just because we have different beliefs or different processes of doing things. And so it's really difficult sometimes to open up like that. So just having the backbone, like Adam said, is really awesome.
Yeah, it can be really important to make sure that you have adults behind you who you feel confident in as you guys step out as young leaders. What you guys are young leaders in your churches and in the executive team, you're connected with a lot of young leaders. So you think about how churches are engaging teens into leadership. What are some of the maybe pitfalls that you've seen, whether you've had them or you've seen somebody else experience as young people trying to step into leadership?
One big thing I've noticed, it's a lot of mentality. It's you thinking, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, and there's no way I could be a leader. But it's all in their head. One big thing in the retreat is when we take our strength finders. Everyone has certain strengths that make them a very strong leader, and until people can figure that out, they're stuck in that mindset that, oh, I can never do that, I can never be a leader, I can't stand up in front of a crowd and speak in front of people, I can't meet new people and whatnot.
I definitely think, although there are plenty of opportunities for kids to step into their churches and work together with others, I think the age gap is definitely something you just have to think about. Because, although the kids, the adults take a lot of the responsibility. Sorry. I'm trying to think of this. One of the things I definitely think you need to consider is the age gap. I mean, although kids want to be as active as they can in their ministry and trying to, work with their adults as much as they can, there is that age gap that's there. So I think, and I agree with what Austin said about the mentality. I think a lot of times the adults tend to look on the kids and see that, oh, it might not be good that they're doing this just because they don't, care as much, as we do about getting a certain task done. But I'm telling you, some of these kids, man, they really care, and they care a lot, and they really want to be a part of what you're doing in your ministry. So I think the age gap is definitely something you have to look at. But I'm telling you, some of the mentality of these kids are great, and I definitely agree with what Austin said.
So here a little bit, that uncertainty of the teen might be a pitfall, but also just the uncertainty of the adult, right? And that can become this double-edged sword, right? Of a young leader feeling uncertain and not confident in themselves, then feeds the adult who maybe isn't necessarily totally confident in them either. What are some ways you guys have any suggestions for how adults might overcome that as they're trying to engage leaders?
I would definitely just say prayer goes a long way. So like whether it's that you're not getting along with the other person that you're working with, or it is the age gap and that you're having trouble, getting over, is just say a prayer with them and say, Lord, help us to overcome this, that we can work together. And even though we may not have the same beliefs or outlooks on ideas, that we can still accomplish things together and that it won't affect how we are working.
I think, like I talked about earlier, the open mind is always great. I mean, just really try to find a way, if a kid really wants to get involved, find something for them to do. I think there's plenty of opportunities within a ministry that you can find something, whether it just be, being a greeter in the morning as people walk into church, being hi. I mean, it could be as simple as that. So I really think just the little things, and as you start someone with something small, and then as you see you see them grow, they are able to do more things. So I really think it's something that takes time, but just finding a way for them to get involved is always great. But like Reagan said too, like prayer is definitely also a really great way just to connect with your kids first of all, and then also just to find ways and pray that they find some opportunity.
We are thankful for the many stories that we get to hear, how God works through mutual service with adults and youth. And like you, three of you said about when really those young people have that desire to serve in the church and serve others and get an adult to partner with them, point them in the right direction, maybe at times encourage them. Again, just the amazing things that can happen and how our faith can strengthen, our confidence gets boosted, and how we see our place in the body of Christ. So we're thankful for all the ways in which you encourage us in your work with YouthLead, in the many ways that you inspire us, many ways that you give us those great ideas and help us plan YouthLead. So maybe just as a little bit, if people are wondering about if YouthLead's a place for them, or for the training is a place for them to come and receive this kind of encouragement and training along the way, what would you say to encourage them to come or to take advantage of the resources?
I would just say that YouthLead is very life-changing. You make so many friends within 3 days. I can't even count the amount of best friends that I now have because of YouthLead. I remember the week before this event this year, I counted down the days until the event because I was just so excited to see everybody. You look around during prayer service or during the campfire worship night, and you just see how amazing everybody is, and they just all want to worship God alongside you. And it's beautiful, it's inspiring, and I can't think of anything else like it. And you honestly have to go and experience it for yourself in order to understand how wonderful and impactful it is.
So my first YouthLead was actually the one we had in Houston in the summer of 21. So it wasn't quite actually, the whole YouthLead experience. So I was pretty amped up to go to the one in St. Louis, which would have been, same 2021 or 2022, would have been March 2022 for me. So I was pretty excited to go. And like Reagan said, you make so many friends and so many memories that are going to last a lifetime. I mean, some of the things I remember about, our previous YouthLead, I think about every day just because, it's always something to look back on, and it's just a happy memory. First of all, it's so many great things happen that weekend. You talk about so many cool things and get to meet so many cool people. But really, if you're on the edge about it, man, I say do it. It is such a life-changing experience, and it's something you're really not going to regret because it's just the opportunities it presents, and the things that you take away from it are things that are going to last and be with you forever.
Like all three of them said, it's such a great event to connect with new people, learn from scripture, and be able to be inspired. And, it's just life-changing. And I guarantee that your congregation and your district, if you have any interest of going, will be more than happy to help you and support you to get you there too.
Well, we appreciate you guys giving your insights, and we appreciate your leadership for the program as we continue to learn and grow together in that. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Always great to hear their voices and to connect again with our executive team. Just a great group of young people, as well as all the young people who attend our YouthLead trainings, and just getting to know them over the years. And it's just a great weekend to be encouraged and to thank God for the gift of our young people and the ways that they are shaped to serve in many vocations. So, Julianna, we talked some about that weekend training, and another one coming up this summer too. What are some other ways congregations can engage with the YouthLead curriculum or materials that can be used back home, maybe in congregation or school setting for young people?
Yeah. So as we talked about a little bit at the start of the program, every year we do a different curriculum. It's video-based. It's designed to be led by young people, right? It's the curriculum that our executive team leads with the group that's there. And then we train young people to teach it. This is what happens at YouthLead. But those curriculums then go up on the Youth eSource. And they're available to anybody. So if you have strong young leaders in your youth group and they want to start leading Bible study, these are great entry points for them. They're designed with all the different components to help make it super easy and comfortable for them to step in and lead the conversation in God's word with your youth group. So we certainly want them to do that. And then we have a couple of other resources, and we're always developing new ones. You heard them talk about Strength Finders. We have like a how to write a devotion, how to lead a devotion set of resources that are available to help you in your congregation to develop those young leaders. So we love our weekend event. It is super powerful, as you heard them talk about, but we also want to make sure those resources are available to the wider church, to make that available so that you can engage your young leaders, even if you aren't necessarily coming to the event.
So what do you think? What is your favorite part of a Youth Lead weekend?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Favorite parts.
I mean, everybody just got to meet just 3 of our 6 executive team, and truly they are fantastic to work with. They do a phenomenal job, but also getting to see how God lifts them up and uses them, and they get to develop new gifts and skills, and to see the young people who become more confident, and that by the end of the weekend they're up front and they're helping lead a devotion, and they know what some of their strengths are, and they have plans. One of the things we do is help them to plan for what they're going to do when they get back. So there's a lot of those pieces, but I will certainly say for me, one of the things we hear often, at least in our positions, is a lot of doom and disaster and gloom for the future of the church. And you cannot walk away from the group of young leaders like that and think that the church is in trouble, because God's got the church well in hand. We know that. We know his promises, but you could look at those young people and go like, yeah, the kids are all right. You know, this is all going to be okay. How about you, Mark?
Yeah, similar to what you just said there. I mean, I think the thing that really was becoming loud and clear to me, getting more engaged with Youth Lead over the years, is like sometimes we do some like talk back times with the participants or just another conversation. And it was that maturity of faith, man, so much more mature than I was at that age.
For sure.
And just their love for the church, engagement in the church. And then on top of it, they see what's going on around them in their world, and they want to share the love of Jesus with their friends that aren't a part of the church. Yeah. And that's the thing that blew me away, was humbling to me, is that they are saying, we want to be equipped because we know our friends are not getting Jesus elsewhere. And we want to be those friends for them. And man, that was just inspiring, encouraging, awesome to see that amongst our young people. And it just seems like every year that's the case what it is. And so that's always a great thing to see, and I think encouraging for the entire church.
It's been a huge blessing to know that this program has been around for so long, right? Because we can see the evidence of God at work in those young leaders that now are older leaders that are now sending their kids who are younger leaders to the event. And so we just know the power of utilizing those young leaders well, not only training them up, but you heard the executive team talk about encouraging them, standing behind them, making sure that they feel confident and prepared, and then kind of giving them the reins and letting them go. And so it's also great to see how young people walk away from this event or from other events that are like that, enthusiastically ready, and having adults who are enthusiastic and ready to be able to support them.
And so we always know they're coming from congregations and families that have pastors and DCEs and teachers and lay people that are praying for them, cheering them on, giving them that opportunity to come back and serve. And that's just awesome to see churches that do that. Yeah.
So we would love for you to consider Youth Lead, if that's something that's possible for you. You can go to the website, lcms.org/YouthLead, or join us on Facebook or Instagram if you want. But we definitely want you to encourage, whether it's Youth Lead or in some other way, for you to be engaging young people in leadership, getting to know them, equipping them, and giving them opportunities for them to serve and lead. So a few closing questions. How can you get to know teens to help them find ways to serve and lead?
How can you thank and recognize young leaders in your congregation in all the ways they serve the church and in their many vocations?
And then how can you encourage and train up young leaders as they step into leadership? We will continue to keep you in our prayers as you lift up young leaders in your congregation and use their unique gifts, skills, and passions.
End Goals Podcast is a production of LCMS Youth Ministry and KFUO Radio. To find out more about LCMS Youth Ministry or to find links to resources mentioned, go to kfu.org/youthministry. Thank you for listening and caring for the young people of our church.